So I thought we'd do a quick peek at what's going on in the kitchen during the days of harvests beginning, and pretty good, I'd say, a pretty good amount of food coming in. This morning I cooked up 2 zucchini. This is a black beauty. It's the first one I've ever grown. Usually I am not able to grow these like traditional zucchini summer squash, and I end up growing the Haifa zucchini. It's one of the only ones that has ever worked for me. And they've just started to come in. This is perpetual spinach. You can use it just like chard, and then a bunch of basil. Over here is the zucchini summer squash that I got sauteed up with a very young onion, some basil, and I just had some black olives that needed to be used up, so I cooked those up. And then over here in the soup pot is a yellow split pea sort of turnip potato soup. I'm working on this recipe for my Sacred Roots circle that I lead. So I'll be making the perpetual spinach into fritters with the basil, and I'm going to use this big, it's my Instant Pot bowl. I'm just going to use that because I'm going to make a pretty big batch. I have more perpetual spinach in the fridge. And then I felt called to make cornmeal pancakes, so I have this out to make those. And then I've got my tea started. It needs one more kettle full. Over here I have some of the onion tops that I cut a couple days ago, soaking in water just to kind of puff them back up. I think I'm gonna cut these and freeze them, and then the rest of them I'm gonna do onion powder. So the rest of them are here. I'm gonna put these in the dehydrator like I did these, and make a homemade onion powder. Isn't that beautiful? It's gorgeous, huh? And I've still got my spring onion flowers that I'm getting the seeds out of. I've got 3 different methods. One is just letting them dry in this bowl. One is having this bag and shaking them. That actually works really well. And then one is having this bowl and just knocking them on the side. I need a much bigger bowl for this method. Here we have peaches. These are probably very close to being ready. Whole Foods has a sale on organic peaches once a year, and I buy peaches there because I have not been able to locally find organic peaches. That is a goal of mine. I'm hoping to do that, hopefully within the next couple of years. We also have a peach tree growing now, so these are really close. I learned this trick from Heather from Northridge Farm. She lays them down single, so instead of in a bowl where they could easily get rotten, this way you can constantly come and check them. So these will probably be either tonight or tomorrow. I will get those canned up into jars. And then what is happening on my table right now is these are seeds that I'm working on getting started, so those will come out with me to the garden today. I have some potatoes that we harvested, but this is really what's happening. We've got rice, oats, corn, and flour that we are putting away in long-term storage just in case something goes wrong with food in the next year. We're hearing whispers of that. This is not about scarcity. This is about, I found a really good price on the Bob's Red Mill grains, and I'm just going to be putting them away. I also ended up with 1 extra container of bone broth from the soup. After making the stock and using it for the soup, I thought it was just a little too much broth, so I have 1 container, and these come in so handy. If one of the kids is craving like a soup, a chicken soup, rice and broth, noodles, they can just pull this out, or I can pull this out, and it makes about 2 portions of soup. So these are really great, and then make sure you label that. So here are the other 3 bags of greens that I have chopped and already ready to go for the fritters. And then I was just in the fridge and I thought I'd show you this. I've been making my own granola bars. They are a huge hit with the kids. I'm with Dave and with me. This is so good. And then these were the ones I had put extra in the freezer. When this container runs low, I grab them out of the freezer and put them in here, and we store them in the fridge. So the peas are all gone outside, but I have 1, 2, and then a huge bowl of them downstairs. So these need to be blanched and frozen so that we can use them at other times before they go bad. I found sugar snap peas tend to go bad pretty quickly. Here's an idea for preserving that anybody can do. You don't need a lot of space, and you can use just some farmer's market food. When you cook up something, so I wanted some zucchini with a fried egg this morning. When you cook that up, make double, make triple, and put them in these little containers. Label very specifically what it is, because if you're like me, you will forget. So I'll write summer squash, onion, olive, oil, lemon. I'll write all of that because that'll be really helpful in me remembering like what, and basil, remembering what I did. And then this will be in the freezer, and at any moment I can pull this out. I can eat this over rice. I could put this into a soup. It would be great in a pasta with some fish. And there it is. Like, that's an instant little lunch or breakfast waiting for me. And if I have a bunch of these, then I have so much variety, and I have all this beautiful fresh food, and it's already cooked. I just have to thaw it and warm it. And that's it. Okay, now here I have an entire pot of the greens with just a tiny, tiny bit of water at the bottom. And I'm just gonna wilt these down and then let them cool. And then this will be the base of the fritters. I'll make plenty of fritters for us to eat fresh and to freeze. And I'll be using my homemade ranch dressing, but I'll be using homemade mayonnaise. So just an egg, oil, powdered mustard, salt, vinegar. Did I say lemon? Super easy to make. And then I'll just add that powder right in. So this is gonna cook for a very short time. I do not want brown leaves. And then I'll just drain it and let it cool in the colander. So that's it, about 2 minutes in the pot, and then it's just gonna sit in this colander and cool off and drain, and I'm gonna kind of get a handle on everything, get cleaned up. So we've got 3 of these buckets filled with rice already, and then this is our gluten-free 1-to-1 flour. I could actually fit a lot more in there. And we're leaving these in the bags. This is not like, if I was trying to save a lot more space, I'd open the bags and just get it right in there, but this is how we're just gonna store this for this year. Oats, and then corn in the form of masa harina, which we use for cornbread and corn pancakes. And I could also fit a lot more in there, so I may order 1 more box of each of those. The oats is full, and then, as I said, 2 or 3 containers of rice. And this goes away for a year. We won't touch this. So one other very random thing that's been hanging over my head is I had defrosted some of these zucchini boats with the Cuban turkey filling. There's 4 of them in here, I think. The zucchini is just unusable, I have found. Like, if you put it in the oven and bake it, it's tough. It's really hard to eat. So we're not going to do this again this year. Live and learn. I'm just going to take out the filling. So this has been defrosting. So I used the same pan, didn't even wash it, that I cooked the zucchini in for this morning. And then this is the same pot that I blanched the perpetual spinach in. I just put more water in, and the peas are going to go in. So I'm not washing dishes constantly. I'm just kind of reusing. So this filling will then be for Dave and I on Sunday. So on Sunday, we go super early to New Hampshire to turn over the Airbnb from the people who check out to the people who are checking in. So I'll make a thing of rice. I'll bring that with us. We can eat that. Super easy, already made. No need to worry about cleanup. And then I'll make sure I have one of my glass jars of tea for us to bring as well. I know these fillings don't often look very appetizing, but this, even though I had to not use the zucchini and give the zucchini to the chicken, this has our homegrown onion, our homegrown green beans, kale, and then some olives and some capers in there. It has a lot of cinnamon. I can smell the cinnamon. A little bit, I think a little bit of tomato paste, or maybe a couple of tomatoes. I made this a year ago, so I'm trying to remember. It's just delicious. Then the soup can either become a dinner for tonight with some cornbread and maybe some smoked sausage, which I think it probably will be, or I could just fill up containers with this and put it in the freezer. And it used up a bunch of turnips, a bunch of potatoes, zucchini, onion, all sorts of things from the garden. Well, I thought my past self had already cleaned these up for me, but I had to just go do the snap and the pull and then get those in the bowl. I still have more to do because my past self did not do all that. But these are basically going to be dumped in my hot water and then go into this pot that is filled with ice water. It'll cool them down, and then they're going to lay down flat on a baking tray. I'm going to put them in the freezer. They're going to flash freeze. Once they're frozen, they'll go in a baggie. That's it. Super simple, but hot work today. Where I tend to get a little frustrated is when people are doing food preserving or make ahead food meals and they're using so much waste, because to me, the whole point of this, well, there's so many points of this, but one of the points is that we don't want to buy our food in plastic. We don't want our food to come in other things. So, I mean, these are going on 3 years now, and they rarely get a hole in them because I treat them kindly. I reuse, I wash, I dry. They dry all over my house on my wooden spoons and chopsticks. And the things that go in the freezer are in things that are reusable. And, you know, I can't wrap my brain around growing your food fresh, getting it right outside your door, or buying your meat from local farms, and then using the amount of waste, the tin foil, the plastic wrap. I'm just, you know, those bags that you seal and then people use them once. Like once. I just don't get it. It kind of hurts my heart, and I feel like it is our responsibility as food growers, as sustainability like leaders, to kind of say, hey, you know, no, we're not going to do it that way. Like those 5-gallon plastic buckets, my grandkids will use those buckets. Like, they are an investment in forever. They are not something that will get thrown away. And like, I mean, just imagine like when you go buy strawberries from the grocery store, every single container of strawberries is in plastic. And people think that they can just throw that in the recycling bin and they will be recycled, and most likely they will not be recycled. So that is a few bites of strawberries for a lifetime of plastic on the earth. I don't get it. I don't get it. We have to do better. We have to do differently. And now that these resources are available, now that we can go to farmers markets, now that you can go to a pick your own farm almost anywhere and find your strawberries, let's do that. Let's choose that. Let's choose the less waste. Let's do it differently. Okay, into the freezer. Okay, so this part is really easy. I've got 10 cups of the cooked perpetual spinach, chard. I've got 2 cups of sliced green onions. I've got 1 cup of fresh basil, and then 8 eggs. A cup. I'm gonna do a cup and a half of gluten-free 1-to-1 flour. Do a teaspoon of salt. This is a half teaspoon, that's why I'm adding 2. Half teaspoon of pepper. And I'm gonna add just a teeny tiny bit of nutmeg. And then just get that all worked in together. I'm just gonna use my hands. Basically, you're looking for a consistency that will somewhat hold together. But you don't want it to be too eggy or too bready, too doughy, I mean. All right, so this needs more flour. So I'm gonna add another 1/2 cup. And so that'll be a total of 2 cups. And then what you do is just make a little tester. So you just make a teeny tiny little one, and then you taste it, eat it, and see if it needs more seasoning. You see if you like the consistency of it. So basically you're just gonna take a little bit of it. You can use a spoon at this point, you don't have to use your hands. And you just wanna make sure that it kind of stays together in the pan. And then that is your fritter. Pretty easy. Gotta have cheese. We gotta have cheese. So, we use dairy-free cheese when we need cheese because I can't have dairy. So this is a faux Parmesan and a little bit of faux mozzarella because I don't have enough Parmesan. I would do about 1 cup probably. And then just mix that in. I knew something wasn't quite right. Okay, there it is. So this is in some avocado oil because avocado oil is high heat. You can use lard, you can use coconut oil. I'm using avocado because it's what I have. Okay, taste. It's so good. And that's not even the best part yet, because the best part is the dip, is the sauce. Sauce, dip, dip, sauce, sauce. Well, that was a day. That was a day. I ended up having to run around with the kids. A couple of the kids are going with their dad to the Cape for a week, and I had to get bathing suit. We had to go get football stuff, pick people up from work. Had to go to shops twice for the bathing suit. It was crazy. So I'm actually just climbing into my PJs. I'm up in my bedroom. Never ended a video like this before with just like no ending, but almost everything got done, and it was very, very productive as far as moving those foods towards preserving so that I'm not worried about anything going bad. Ended up putting the peaches in the fridge because I just don't have it in me tonight to finish, and they'll be fine. It'll be fine. Most of the peas are frozen. Most of the fritters are made. The rest of the batter I just put in Tupperware, put it in the fridge. And soup is done. And we ended up just kind of munching for dinner tonight, fritters, deli, turkey, and a new day starts tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you.